In England's breath 4 centuries past, a voice arose, rich, bold and vast. From Stratford's field to London's stage, he penned the soul of every age. William Shakespeare, a name we know, whose tales still set our minds aglow. Through kings and clowns, through love and strife, he cast the truths of human life. We meet him here, the man, the time, the golden age, the prose, the rhyme, where Queen Elizabeth I held the throne, a word of wonder came to own. And in that word, where lanterns gleam, Venice was more than just a dream. The merchant of Venice, sharp and wise, unfolds with masks, with laws, the skies. A tale of mercy, gold and debt, of promises we don't forget, of Shylock's pain, Portia's grace, and justice wearing many a face. So lend your ear, your heart, your mind, to voices left so far behind. The echoes reach us, clear and true. This timeless tale is told for you.
William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon on April 23rd in 1564. When he left school, he first worked for his father. His father, John Shakespeare, was an important man in the town. He was a glove maker and a butcher. William didn't come from a poor family. Nevertheless, William wanted to become a writer. He liked books. When he was 18, William married Anne Hathaway in 1582. In the same year, their daughter, Susanna, was born. Hamlet and Judith were born 3 years later. They were twins. William wasn't very happy in Stratford. He was bored, but he loved going to the theater. He loved talking to the actors and started dreaming of becoming an actor and of writing plays. His wife didn't like the idea very much, but when Shakespeare was 23, he decided to go to London. He worked there as an actor in the theater called The Rose, and at the same time, he began to write a lot of plays. Everyone liked his plays and he became famous. The plays were for everybody. They were for poor people, ladies, lords, kings, and queens. They all loved to see the actors, their dances, their songs, and especially their fights. These fights had to look very real. When an actor killed another actor, they used sheep's blood to make the person's death look dramatic. All the actors were men or boys. Therefore, men and boys also played female roles. During the plays, the people didn't sit still and watch. They talked to each other, they shouted, laughed, and cried. They also ate during the plays. In 1552, all the theaters in London had to close down because of a plague. By 1602, William Shakespeare had become famous. He wrote tragedies and comedies. Many people liked his plays. Also Elizabeth I, the Queen of England. Many of the plays that Shakespeare wrote are still very famous today. When James I became a king in 1603, Shakespeare worked for him and performed his plays for the king and his friends. He also worked at the famous Globe Theatre. This play presented his last play, Henry III. There was a gun in the play, and the fire from the gun burned the theatre down. In 1610, Shakespeare went back to Stratford again. He died on April the 23rd in 1616. He was only 46 years old. Shakespeare's plays are 1590 to 1594, Henry VI, Part 1, Henry VI, Part 2, Henry VI, Part 3, Titus Andronicus, The Taming of the Shrew, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, 1595 to 1599, Love's Labour's Lost, Romeo and Juliet, Richard III, A Midsummer Night's Dream, King John, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV, Part 1, Henry IV, Part 2, Much Ado About Nothing, 1600 to 1605, Henry V, Julius Caesar, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, Hamlet, Troilus and Cressida, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, 1606 to 1610, Antony and Cleopatra, All's Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, Timon of Athens, Pericles, Prince of Tyre, 1611 to 1613, Cymbeline, The Winter's Tale, The Tempest, Henry VIII, The Two Noble Kinsmen.
Queen Elizabeth I's relationship with Shakespeare. Queen Elizabeth I's relationship with William Shakespeare, while not documented through personal interactions, was significantly defined by the cultural and artistic environment she fostered during her reign. Elizabeth's indirect influence on Shakespeare and his works can be attributed to her role as a monarch who supported the arts and theatre during the Elizabethan era. Support for the arts. Patronage of theatre. Elizabeth I was a known patron of the arts, and her support for theatre was crucial in Shakespeare's time. Her patronage helped stabilize and legitimize the profession of playwright and acting, a crucial factor that allowed theatres like the Globe to thrive. This support created a thriving environment for dramatists and provided them with the audience and financial backing needed to continue their work. Cultural influence. Elizabeth's reign was marked by a flourishing of English drama, and Shakespeare, like many playwrights of the era, benefited from the cultural renaissance. The Queen's well-known love for entertainment, particularly theatrical performances, likely encouraged playwrights to produce works that would appeal to her and the court's tastes. Plays that included elements of history, nationalism, or addressed the nature of power and rule could resonate with a monarch who was constantly managing her image and authority. Shakespeare's works and the Queen. Content tailored to the monarchy. Some of Shakespeare's plays contain characters and themes that might have been designed to resonate with Elizabeth and her court. For instance, plays like A Midsummer Night's Dream or The Merry Wives of Windsor are thought to have been written for court festivities. The strong, regal female characters in his plays, such as Portia in The Merchant of Venice, or the various representations of queens in his historical dramas, reflect the sovereign's influence and might have been an homage to the reigning queen. Reflection of Elizabethan politics. Shakespeare's works often subtly reflect the political climate of Elizabeth's reign. For instance, his plays frequently explored issues of leadership, legitimacy, and succession, topics of significant relevance during a period when the Queen's own succession was uncertain. This thematic exploration not only catered to the interests of the audience, but also engaged with the broader societal concerns of the time, showcasing the playwright's awareness of the cultural and political milieu. Performances for the Queen. While direct evidence is scarce, it is widely believed that Shakespeare's company, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, later the King's Men, performed at court. These performances would have been occasions for Shakespeare to appeal directly to Elizabeth and her courtiers, blending entertainment with subtle commentary on contemporary issues. Conclusion. Though there is no direct record or personal interaction between Shakespeare and Queen Elizabeth I, the relationship between them is emblematically significant. Elizabeth's role as a patron and her influence on the cultural climate of the era were critical in shaping the conditions under which Shakespeare and his contemporaries worked. Her interest in theatre undoubtedly impacted the themes and execution of Shakespeare's plays, aligning them with the tastes and politics of the Elizabethan court. This indirect patronage not only enabled Shakespeare's artistry, but also ensured his works would remain enduringly popular and influential, woven into the very fabric of the period's cultural and artistic achievements.
During William Shakespeare's lifetime, the political landscape of England was dominated by the reigns of two monarchs from the Tudor dynasty, whose leadership profoundly influenced the cultural and artistic environment of the period. Here's an overview of the monarchs during Shakespeare's era. A. Queen Elizabeth I reigned from November 17, 1558, until her death on March 24, 1603. She was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn and is one of the most famous and respected rulers in English history. Influence on Shakespeare. Elizabeth's reign, known as the Elizabethan era, is considered a golden age of English history, especially noted for the flourishing of English drama and the arts. Shakespeare rose to prominence during this time, and the support for theatre under her rule allowed his talents to thrive. Elizabeth herself was known to be a patron of the arts and enjoyed theatre immensely. Her policies helped stabilize and promote theatrical performances, which were often staged for her court. B. King James I, from 1603 to 1625 reign. James I ascended the throne on March 24, 1603, following Elizabeth I's death. He was the first monarch of the Stuart dynasty, overseeing the kingdoms of England, Scotland as James VI, and Ireland. Influence on Shakespeare. The transition from Elizabeth I to James I marked a significant shift in patronage and the thematic elements of Shakespeare's later works. King James was particularly fascinated by themes of kingship, witchcraft, and the supernatural, which influenced Shakespeare's plays during this period, notably in works like Macbeth and The Tempest. Shakespeare's theatre company, known during Elizabeth's reign as the Lord Chamberlain's Men, was renamed the King's Men in 1603, indicating that they enjoyed royal patronage under King James. C. Cultural and political context. Both monarchs ruled during a time of religious upheaval and political change. The Elizabethan era saw the solidification of the Protestant Reformation in England, while James I's reign included the ongoing struggle for power between the monarchy and the Parliament. The translation of the Bible into English, the King James Version, and the infamous Gunpowder Plot of 1605. This monarch's reign greatly impacted the social and cultural life of England, including the arts and theatre. Their rule coincided with the development of some of the most enduring literature in the English language, much of which reflected the complexities and challenges of the time. Shakespeare's works, deeply embedded in the social fabric of the age, often explored themes of power, identity, succession, and legitimacy, themes directly influenced by the reigns of Elizabeth I and James I. Why the Globe Theatre was significant for Shakespeare's plays. Today, Shakespeare's Globe not only serves as a working theatre, but also as an educational resource offering insights into Elizabethan staging practices and continuing to enhance the appreciation of Shakespeare's work. The Global Theatre significantly shaped the production and reception of Shakespeare's plays during his lifetime and has continued to impact how they are viewed and performed in the contemporary world. Its historical and cultural significance is a testament to its role not just as a theatre, but as a pivotal institution in the history of English drama. The Globe Theatre holds significant historical and cultural importance for Shakespeare's plays for several reasons. 1. Architectural innovation and design. The Globe Theatre was a revolutionary structure for its time, built in 1599 by Shakespeare's playing company, the Lord Chamberlain's Men. Its design was unique, a circular open-air amphitheatre that allowed a large number of spectators, up to 3,000, to view performances from different angles. This architectural design enhanced to acoustic and visual experience of the audience, allowing for greater immersion in the performances. The stage projected into the pit where the audience stood, creating intimacy and direct engagement with the actors. 2. Cultural hub. The Globe was not merely a theatre, but a significant cultural hub in London. It was one of the first theatres built on the south bank of the River Thames in Southwark, an area that became synonymous with entertainment. At the Globe, audiences of varying social classes could gather, from the aristocracy to the common masses. This accessibility helped cement the theatre's role in the cultural life of Elizabethan and Jacobean England, making the theatrical performances a central form of entertainment and social interaction. 3. Artistic home for Shakespeare. The Globe Theatre was Shakespeare's artistic home and the venue where many of his greatest plays were first performed, including Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and King Lear. The theatre's facilities allowed Shakespeare to experiment with complex stage directions, props, and effects. The Globe's